Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me again. If you are returning for a second, third, or fourth time, if you are coming in for the first time, welcome. I hope you continue to support my channel. I wanted to stream live to do this broadcast instead of uploading a video. I wanted to hear you guys' comments, if you have any comments offhand to give, any feedback to give. But you can do that by commenting. Even if you join me after I close the live, you can comment, you can like the video, as well as you can subscribe. Now, I went live just before now, and I had to end the live briefly because there was some echoing. So I apologize if you came in before and I had to end it before continuing with the discussion. But the topic there, I want to discuss the relationship between David and Liz. And I also want to give some, thoughts about what I think is going to be happening in the rest of the season. Right? So let me get into David and Liz. Now, Liz well, seems to be is the right verb to use at this point. I have to say that Liz seems to be a woman who has a lot of principles and someone who is very steeped in the church. And there is something about the use or choice of words that Liz has used to describe herself. And I think people have gotten the wrong impression about Liz in the sense that she is saying that she wants to enter into a relationship and get married before having sex. But then those words are not met with the actions in the sense that she goes out with Jason for the first time. And the first time that she goes out on a date with him, or based on what we've seen on the episodes, it appears to be the first time. We don't know if they met before or they were talking on the phone prior to. But based on what we saw, how is it that she went out for the first time having these sorts of principles and yet she allowed, we have to use that word, allowed Jason to kiss her not once, but twice? All right. Now, it's all fine and dandy to say that I am a particular way, but if that is not reflected in my actions, then I don't think that that persons would perceive me to be that way. And that is where I kind of agree a little bit with how David is reacting. Because if you present yourself like you are the Virgin Mary, and then come to find out you are Marilyn Monroe, then I am not going to feel so pleased. I might feel like you kind of deceived me somewhat, right? You were not being your authentic self and you allowed me to put my feelings out on the table for you because I thought you were this particular person, but then you turned out to be not what I anticipated. So I think in that respect, David has the right to feel and react the way how we see him feeling and reacting on screen. All right. Now, on the other side, David, when he met Liz, he was intrigued by the fact that she came from a Christian background. Um, she was good at, well, Liz said that she was a part of a gospel singing group, right? So he was impressed by that. So it seemed that the two of them had similar upbringings, right? Just as how Amber and KG connected based on their upbringings as well. So from that very first impression he got from Liz, and I think David was the only person who actually was interested in Liz at that point, because he stated in that very first episode that Liz was in his top, right? And so David kind of looking at her like, okay, in our term in Jamaica, we'll have to say, oh, she's a wife material because she's well put together, she's in the church, and she wants to live a certain life that is filled with standards and principles. Yeah, nice person to take home and introduce to your parents. Or in David's case, nice person to get married the third time around. No, David, having gotten married not once but twice, and found himself in a situation where he keeps picking the wrong persons. By any standard, it would be okay for him to have his guard up. All right? It would be understandable if someone is not so trusting of people. But I kind of get the vibe from David that David is a little bit more on the controlling side. Like when he was talking to Liz on one of his dates, he said, I'm not scared, but I want to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Now, typically when people say, I am not a thing, I'm not gay, but we have a problem with them people here who expressing themselves. It's not my body, but it's their body. But at the same time, I don't really agree with that. Why do you put a disclaimer in front of what you want to say? Is because you know what you are about to say is going to show you up. So the fact that David said he's not scared, right, tells me that David is actually scared. Okay? Wow. I have to say that, doing a live at home is a challenge. There is always people who are vying for your attention. So understand that if persons come into the live, that's sometimes expected. So of course, I am being told to hurry up and come to, attend to certain people's feelings. Anyways, yes. So what I was saying is David seems to be very scared about getting into a relationship. Now, if you are scared about entering into a relationship at this point, and I could see where you had two failed relationships, how it would put you on in defense mode. So I don't think David is ready for this type of show where he is, dating multiple people, and within a short space of time, he has to come to a decision. And we see that he's going to end up in an argument with Liz later on about his feelings about her, and that he, is breaking it off per se with her, right? Anywho, I'm just saying for David and Liz, David stated who he was. He said he was ready, available, showing up in his relationships, but then it didn't work out. So he ended up being scared. So that is who David is. Liz, on the other hand, she's telling us one thing or telling David one thing, but she is actually being someone else. No, I am coming to that conclusion because I went back and I looked at the very first episode, and what I saw was that at the end of that very first episode, they had a preview about the season. And then when I looked at those previews, these are some of the things that I saw. So I'm going to tell you basically what I saw. You can go back and look at it, but I'm going to discuss some of the things that I saw. Now, the first thing was that I saw Kyra and AJ kissing. Now, of course, Kyra has been on dates with AJ, and basically, I really don't see much of a spark. I said in my previous live stream that I think that AJ is actually intimidated by Kyra. All right. Maybe it has to do with the fact that Kyra is an attorney, so she is very much so on the intellectual side. Um, Whereas AJ is more of an artist, more in tune with his feelings. Because, you know, people who are artistic, they are more creative in the way in which they think and do things. People who are analytical, they would end up becoming attorneys, right? Engineers, or so on, right? So I don't think both of them are operating from the same side of the brain. One is on the right and one is on the left. And that's why they're having problems communicating, because I see AJ as being a person who maybe communicates more with the physical and in the doing. If you notice, when he was in the date, he was holding her hands, he was looking at her intentionally, he kissed her on the hands to, you know, show that he was attracted, but not much in terms of a conversation. However, Kyra, on the other hand, she's more of the type of person who wants to have a conversation, who wants you to stimulate her brain, but she's not getting that from AJ. Okay? But it seems they will go on another date and they will eventually kiss on the lips, right? You can go back and look at it, as I said. The kiss seemed very genuine. They were, you know, in an embrace. So I'm thinking that, you know, they were enjoying themselves. But somewhere along the line, I think that Kyra is going to break things off with AJ. She's gonna let AJ know that she's not really interested in going any further because of that communication barrier. All right. Then also saw that, you know, Amber and KJ are going to share a kiss. But somehow I just don't think that KJ has invested enough into this relationship with Amber. KJ is not taking it to the next level. I don't get romance vibe from KJ. I get more of a romantic vibe from Amber with Joel. And in fact, Amber and Joel are also going to kiss. Yeah, yeah. Amber and Joel are gonna be on a date, you know, touchy, feely. I look forward to see that on screen. Amber and Joel. Wow, wow. Where is Vernisha, you may ask? Well, it seems Vernisha is gonna hear about the fact that Joel chose Kyra in the eliminations, and she is going to confront Joel about it. So right then and there, I think that is the end between Vernisha and Joel, because Vernisha is saying that how could Joel just go ahead and choose Kyra because of one misunderstanding between the two of them. And she is correct. She is correct. But Vernisha, me give it to you. You is the one that is wrong. You wrong, figure take up Joel as being the person who you are going to live with and get married to. I mean, you're just dating, baby love. How are you dating and you just all of a sudden go and take over and put stamp on the man, said this man belong to you. You don't belong. That is not your role in the relationship. Let the man do that part of it. Let the man be the one to choose you. According to Kyra, Kyra says she does not chase men, men chase her. And that is what it ought to be. Don't chase a man, because at the end of the day, that is how things just are. There's a time and place for everything. So you have to understand where your place is when it comes to being in a relationship with a manly man. Oh, anyways, Jason and Liz. Oh my gosh, there wasn't one. There wasn't two. It seems like every time I saw Jason and Liz, they were kissing. Yep, go back, go look, because it seems things are going to steam up between Jason and Liz. Me no know those telling me just not like Jason. Jason does not come off as being genuine. To me, Jason, Jason is the male version of Vernisha. Put it away there. Yes, Jason is the male version of Vernisha in the sense that Jason is rushing things too quickly with the ladies before getting to know them. So you are getting to know, but in getting to know, Jason is being physical with the women. So how is it that this relationship is going to last if all you're being with them is just being physical? It not gonna last, baby love. It's not going to last, all right? So that's one of the issues that I am seeing for Jason. Alexis, no. At this point in filming, it appears that Kyra is the favorite. But based on what I'm seeing, it seems like Alexis is going to be the one who will be there up until the end, right, of this season. And it appears that Alexis is going to be the one who AJ is going to choose, right? Because at one point we see where AJ is asking Alexis if she would leave with him, right? So that's kind of shocking that Alexis is the one that AJ will go after. But I think AJ is going to choose Alexis because he's going to see that he's not really compatible with Kyra, right? And in fact, when you look at it, he's more compatible with Alexis. I don't see Ron and Alexis being together, so most likely Ron is going to be eliminated. So all the persons who are going to be left, I think the three couples will be Alexis and AJ. I don't know if Vernisha and when in there, I don't know if Vernisha and Joel will get it together. I doubt it. I think more than likely it will be between Joel and KJ for Amber. Yes, between Joel and KJ for Amber, Alexis and AJ, and Kyra and Liz fighting for Jason. But I think that Jason will end up with Liz because Liz is the one who is attracted to. Not that they are going to be in a long-term relationship, just that the fact that it's a show, right? And you have to end up with someone. You have to choose someone. So if Jason is to choose between Liz and Kyra, I think he is more attracted because he's a physical person. I think he's more attracted to Liz, and so because of that, he's going to choose Liz because he's just that type of person who like to be physical. Um, Amber, who do I think Amber will choose? KJ or Joel? We haven't seen much of Amber with Joel except for that one date, but I really did like seeing them together. In real life, however, I don't see Amber and Joel being together because being with Joel requires a lot of commitment, and Amber is pretty young and serious about her career. So I don't see her choosing Joel because that would mean taking a lot of her personal time to be with him. But she and KJ seems to be a good fit. So it would be Amber and KJ, Jason and Liz, and AJ and Alexis. So that means Vernisha would drop out, Kyra is going to drop out, and Ron is going to drop out along with David. Anyways, these are my predictions. Um, just to touch on Liz, I think Liz, although most people like Liz's character on the show. I just think that Liz has not presented herself to be consistent in what she said the type of person she was, even though she keeps mentioning the church. The fact that she is going around and, although a kiss is just a kiss, we know a kiss is just a kiss, but I don't see it. Oh, I don't know. You guys tell me, what are your feelings towards Liz and David's relationship? David definitely need to go and get some therapy. He is definitely not ready to be in a relationship. He had two failed marriages and he seems to be quite hurt by what happened in those marriages. So until he is able to attune himself with what took place, he should not get into any type of relationship with anyone. All right. He seems like a nice guy, however, and I hope everything works out for him. I don't see what's her name, Liz. I don't see Liz and Jason making it very far. They are just physically attracted to each other. And I don't understand if you don't want to have sex before marriage. How are you going to be physically kissing and rubbing up on someone every day, um, and you don't expect it to reach to the point of sex unless you don't like the person? How is it that you are in love with this person and you're going to deny having sex before getting married? Unless you meet the person today and you like him and you say, all right, me could go married tomorrow. And if you use sex, this is a whole other thing too. If you use sex as being a tool to get someone to marry you, do you think that when the person marry you that they're going to stay? Marriage is just a piece of paper, a day, and walking down the aisle and saying, I do. After that comes the relationship. So having not choosing not to have sex before marriage does not mean that your marriage is going to work. It's the same thing that happened with Kenya, right? Not choosing to have a child because you want to have a child in a marriage, but yet see the marriage come there and the man and her are having problems, right? So the time when she wastes saying that she has to get married in order to have a child, all she did was waste her time. So you trying to say, okay, I'm not going to have sex until I get married. Then when you get married and you have sex, what happens when the person decides to up and leave? Because this is the whole thing. You have the carrot in front of the person dangling, and because they want the carrot, they will do anything, right? So it is a false sense of people to believe that, okay, I am going to wait until marriage to have sex. I think also some people look at someone like Sierra and Russell Wilson's relationship and believe that this is how it's going to go for them. All right, Sierra and Russell Wilson. First of all, when people come out and tell you, say, this is how them life is, 9 out of 10 me not believe because usually I know so it go. People will pretty up for the public to let you believe that this is how their lives actually are when that is not exactly how it is. So when you sit down there listening to Sarah and thinking that this is how their relationship was, or Beyonce and Jay-Z and thinking that this is how it exactly is, that's not true. They are entertainers. They're gonna come to you and tell you things that is going to make them look good, right? So you believing that, okay, Sierra waited to have sex with Russell Wilson before she got married to Russell Wilson. Come on, first, you don't have what Sierra have in terms of your finances. You don't. Some of you don't look like Sierra. All right? We don't want to get too much into it, I don't want to get too far into that. Let me stick to Ready to Love. All right. So we went from talking about David and Liz to some of the things that I thought were upcoming in the episodes to come. Tell me what you guys think about it and leave a comment, and we'll talk. Right? Thanks for those who are supporting so far. And I look forward to having more of you joining and subscribing. And that's it for me today. Goodbye.